Okay, we are almost finished with this lesson, so this will be video number 3. I just want you guys to see a couple more examples. I did work out number 7, keeping the negative there, just to show you, if you're looking here, that when I do my sign chart, this negative here, let me make this yellow, this negative here is included in the sign chart. So if you want to take a second to copy this example down, you can. Otherwise, let's move on to the last 2 examples. So for this one, you can try to factor by grouping, and if that doesn't work, you can go to the rational root test or your calculator to get roots to do synthetic division with. So I'm typing in 4x to the third plus x squared minus 11x plus 6 into the calculator. You should do that as well, and you'll see that negative 2 is a root that I can use synthetic division with. So I'm going to start with negative 2, bring down the 4, negative 8, negative 7, 14, 3, negative 6, 0. So I know that factored form is going to be x plus 2. This will now be 4x squared minus 7x plus 3 is less than 0. So now I need to factor this using the AC method. So what 2 numbers can you multiply together to get 12 and add to get negative 7? And that should be negative 4 and negative 3. So this will become negative 4x minus 3x. Bring down the 4x squared and the plus 3. Here I can take out a 4x and I have x minus 1. Here I can take out a minus 3 and I have x minus 1. So that trinomial factors to x minus 1, 4x minus 3. Don't forget about the x plus 2. And the x plus 2 came from here, which came from my calculator. So my critical values are negative 2, 1, and 3/4. And then the rest of the problem is the same as what we've been doing. Negative 2, 3/4, and 1. These are open circles. I'm going to choose negative 10, 0. A number between 3/4 and 1 is a little bit tricky. So if you want to think about this as 0.75 and 1, you can just pick 0.8 or 0.9, and then I'll pick 10. We're plugging it into completely factored form. So plugging it in here, I'm going to get negative, 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 which is negative. 0 is positive, negative, negative, which is positive. 0.8 is going to be positive, negative, and then 4 times 0.8 minus 3 is positive 0.2. And you can use your calculator there if you need to. And then 10 is 3 positives, which is positive. Less than 0 means I need to shade here and here. So I have negative infinity to negative 2 union 3/4 to 1. Okay, and then one more example, and then you're done. Let's flip to the last slide. And we have actually factored this one before. We factored this by grouping. We did it one day last week. So remember, just group by 2's. Here I can take out an x to the 4th, and I have x plus 3. Here I can take out a minus 6x squared, and I have x plus 3. Here I can take out a plus 5, and I have x plus 3 is greater than 0. So if I take out the GCF of x plus 3, what I have left is x to the 4th minus 6x squared plus 5. This is all greater than 0. Then I can factor that as x squared minus 5, x squared minus 1. X squared minus 1 is the difference of 2 squares. So this sign chart is going to be very long. So we have x squared minus 5, and then we'll have x plus 1, x minus 1. So look at these critical values. Do you see that you have negative 4? If I take x squared plus 5 and set it equal to 0, sorry, minus, I'm going to get x squared equals 5, take the square root, and x is going to be plus or minus the square root of 5. So I have negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 5, negative 1, and 1. Now to put this on a sign chart, I need to know what the square root of 5 is. So put that in your calculator. You'll see that the square root of 5 is 2.236. So when I put this on the sign chart, I know that I'm actually doing plus or minus 2.236. But on your answer, make sure you include plus or minus radical 5. Okay, so put all of these numbers on a sign chart. Again, it's going to be a really large sign chart. So I have negative 4, negative 2 point, we'll just say 2.2, negative 1, 1, positive 2.2. These are all open circles. Then I'm going to pick negative 10, negative 3, negative 2, 0, 2, and 10. And we're plugging it into completely factored form, which is here. So I'm going to have 4 signs. So negative 10 will be negative, positive, negative, negative, which is negative. Negative 3 will be positive, positive, negative, negative, which is positive. Negative 2 will be positive, negative, 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 which is negative. 0 will be positive, negative, positive, negative. 2 will be positive, negative, positive, positive. And then 10 should give me 4 positives. If you're having trouble knowing where those 4 signs come from, ask a friend. All right, greater than 0, I'm going to shade where it's positive. So the answer to this tremendous inequality is negative 4 to negative 2.2, which remember was negative radical 5. So write your answer that way. Union negative 1 to 1, union radical 5 to infinity. And that is it for polynomial inequalities. Your homework tonight that I want you to work on now is A2.6. Homework A2.6, which can be found on Canvas. Write down any questions that you have and save those for me for when I return to school.